All right, so we're diving deep again. This time, you guys gave us some excerpts from Atomic Habits by James Clear.
It's a great book.
Yeah, and we're going to squeeze every little bit of wisdom that we can out of it.
That's right.
We're going to help you become habit masters. Building good habits, breaking bad habits, all that good stuff. One thing that I thought was really cool, just from the initial skim, was this idea that tiny changes, things we barely even notice, can actually snowball into huge results over time. And Clear calls it the power of compounding.
Yeah.
And it just got me thinking, man, even small tweaks to our habits could really lead to some big transformations.
Absolutely. And, it's so fascinating about this book. It's not just theory, like a bunch of abstract theory. It's very practical.
Yeah.
He gives you the tools to actually use these principles in your life.
Yeah.
Like a blueprint for building a better you, brick by tiny brick.
Okay, I love that. I'm all about blueprints and self-improvement, but let's be real. I think we've all tried to change our habits in the past and failed miserably.
Yeah.
It's like willpower just evaporates, right?
Oh, yeah.
When faced with that bowl of ice cream or the snooze button.
Definitely.
How does Clear address this? How does he address this in his approach, this very human struggle with temptation?
Well, he starts by breaking down the science of habit formation into 4 stages.
Okay.
Cue, craving, response, and reward.
Mm-hmm.
And he illustrates this with a great example, actually, about baby gulls. So baby gulls, they have this instinct to peck at the red dot on their mother's beak to get food.
Okay.
The red dot's the cue. The pecking is the response, and the food is the reward, satisfying that craving for nourishment.
Oh, so we're all just baby gulls, responding to the red dots in our lives. I'm starting to see this play out in my own life. My phone buzzes, that's the cue. And then I have this, little dopamine hit of anticipation, what's going on? That's the craving. And then I pick up my phone and check the notification. That's the response. And then I'm rewarded with this satisfying feeling of being in the loop. Exactly. But how do we break free from this cycle when it leads to bad habits?
Well, that's where his 4 laws of behavior change come in.
Okay.
And these are really a framework for hacking your habits.
Love it.
So you make good habits irresistible and bad habits invisible.
Okay. Yeah.
The first law, as you might have guessed, make it obvious.
Okay.
Or in the case of bad habits, make it invisible.
Makes sense. Out of sight, out of mind. But how do we actually do this? I mean, I can't just throw my phone in the ocean every time I want to focus.
Right. Well, you can strategically design your environment to make those good cues really stand out.
Okay.
And those bad ones disappear. So Clear talks about, there's this great story about how they redesigned workspaces in Japanese factories to improve efficiency. And they made tools and materials super accessible, so workers didn't waste time looking for them.
Oh, interesting.
So it's about optimizing your surroundings.
Yeah?
To support those habits you want to build.
So it's setting yourself up for success, right?
Exactly.
If I want to eat healthier, I should rearrange my fridge.
Absolutely.
Put the fruit and veggies up front and maybe hide those cookies in the back.
Yeah, it's like you're playing chess with yourself.
Yeah.
Strategically positioning those pieces.
Right.
You're more likely to win.
Okay.
And this brings us to something really important, Lewin's equation.
Okay, you've officially piqued my interest. What is Lewin's equation?
Yeah.
And why should I care?
Okay. It simply states that behavior is a function of the person in their environment, or BFPE.
Mm-hmm.
Fancy way of saying that our behavior is influenced both by who we are, so our personality, beliefs, values, and the context we're in.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you have the best intentions, if your environment's working against you, it's an uphill battle to change those habits.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. It's like trying to run uphill with a backpack full of rocks.
Exactly.
You might be determined, but those rocks are going to slow you down. So the first law is setting up our environment for success.
That's right.
Make those cues obvious and those bad cues invisible. What's next?
Well, the second law is all about temptation.
Okay.
It's about making good habits attractive and bad habits less appealing.
Okay.
We humans are wired to seek pleasure and avoid pain.
Right.
And often, those bad habits are designed to give us that quick hit of dopamine, that instant gratification.
Oh, it's so true.
That makes them so hard to resist.
Yeah, that chocolate chip cookie's calling my name way louder than that bowl of broccoli.
Exactly.
So how do we make those healthier choices more enticing? How do we, compete with that siren song of instant gratification?
Well, Clear suggests some pretty clever strategies.
Okay.
One is called habit stacking.
Okay.
And basically, you're linking a new habit to an existing one. So let's say you want to start meditating every morning.
Yeah.
You could try stacking it with a habit you already do, like
Mm-hmm.
brushing your teeth.
Right.
So after you brush your teeth, you meditate for just 5 minutes.
Oh, I love that.
You're building a chain reaction of good habits,
Yeah.
leveraging the power of association.
Yeah, it's like those domino chain reaction videos.
Yes.
Where one tiny push sets off this whole cascade of events. Okay, habit stacking, check. What else? What other tools do we have?
Another great technique is temptation bundling.
Okay.
And this involves pairing an action you want to do with an action you need to do.
Okay.
So maybe you only allow yourself to listen to your favorite podcast while you're working out.
Oh.
Or you can only watch that new TV show while you're tackling a pile of laundry.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah, so suddenly those less thrilling tasks become a lot more appealing.
I love that. I'm already scheming ways to temptation bundle my way to a cleaner house.
Absolutely.
And a fitter physique.
There you go.
Okay. It's like I'm tricking my brain into craving those things that I know are good for me. But I'm curious, are there any other strategies for making good habits more appealing
Absolutely.
without resorting to unhealthy indulgences?
Yeah. So even small rewards can be effective.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to go overboard. It could be something as simple as listening to your favorite music while you're working out, or, lighting a scented candle while you work,
Yeah.
or treating yourself to a cup of fancy tea after you finish a chapter of that book you've been meaning to read.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're making those good habits obvious. We're making them attractive. I have a feeling there's more to this habit formation puzzle, though.
Yeah.
What about those final 2 laws?
Well, the third law is make it easy.
Okay.
And the fourth is make it satisfying.
Yeah.
And this is where things get really interesting. We'll dive into those in part 2.
Can't wait. Welcome back. We're in the thick of it with atomic habits here.
Yeah, we're getting to the good stuff now.
Yeah. We're going to talk about the last 2 laws. Make it easy and make it satisfying. These sound pretty important.
Absolutely. They're all about removing friction, the things that get in our way,
Yeah.
Like imagine trying to roll a giant boulder uphill. It takes so much effort, right?
Yeah.
But what if you could smooth out that path, even just a little?
Right.
Suddenly it gets a lot easier.
Yeah.
That's what we're aiming for with habits. Reduce the friction, make those good habits almost effortless.
Okay, I am so on board with making things easier.
Right.
Where do we start?
Well, Claire has this great concept, the 2-minute rule.
Okay.
It's really simple, but so effective. Basically, any new habit should be able to be started in 2 minutes or less.
2 minutes? I mean, even I can manage that, and I'm the queen of procrastination.
Oh, I hear you.
But how does starting that really small, actually lead to lasting change?
Well, it's about momentum. It's about tricking your brain.
Okay.
Instead of trying to run a marathon on day 1, you lace up your shoes and just walk around the block. Instead of writing a whole chapter of your novel, you jot down just a single sentence.
Okay.
You're lowering the barrier to entry, making that initial step so easy you can't say no.
Yeah.
And once you've taken that step, you're way more likely to keep going.
It's like that saying, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
Yes.
But it's actually backed by science. Okay, I'm on board with the 2-minute rule. What's next?
All right, so once you've mastered starting small, you gradually scale up using something Claire calls habit shaping.
Okay.
Imagine a potter. They start with a lump of clay, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then with patience and skill, they gradually mold it into something beautiful and functional.
I love that visual.
It's a process,
Yeah.
right? So let's say you want to start writing every day.
Mm-hmm.
You might start with just 2 minutes each day, a couple of sentences.
Mm-hmm.
And as that gets easier, you bump it up to 5 minutes, then 10, and so on. Consistency first, then you increase the duration or the intensity.
That makes so much sense. It's like
Yeah.
training for a marathon. You wouldn't start by running 26 miles, right?
Exactly.
So we've covered make it easy. What about that 4th law? Make it satisfying.
All right, so this is where we get to rewards. Our brains love instant gratification, and bad habits tend to hijack that system by giving us that quick hit of pleasure.
It's so true.
So we need to find ways to make those good habits just as rewarding, even though the benefits might come later.
Okay, tell me more. How do we make healthy choices feel as good as indulging in those less healthy temptations?
Well, Clear has some tricks for this too. One is using what he calls immediate rewards. Let's say you're trying to save money.
Mm-hmm.
Every time you resist buying something you don't really need, transfer that amount to a savings account. Label it for a goal, a vacation, or down payment on a house, whatever.
I love that. It's like giving yourself a little mini celebration.
It is.
Every time you make a good choice, it's a tangible reminder of your progress, and it turns saving money into something fun, not a punishment.
Exactly. You're associating good habits with positive emotions. And another powerful tool, habit tracking.
Oh yeah, habit tracking. I love my fitness tracker, seeing all those steps add up or calories burned.
Right. And it's not just the numbers. It's visual proof of your effort. It's a subtle reminder of your consistency and how far you've come.
Like a gold star for good behavior.
Exactly. Those little victories can be super motivating.
Yeah, like you don't want to break the chain.
Exactly. Exactly. And habit tracking can become its own reward too, you know.
How so?
There's something satisfying about seeing those streaks, knowing you're showing up consistently.
Yeah, it's like a visual testament to your commitment, proof you're capable of change.
Exactly. You create this positive feedback loop where your actions reinforce your desired identity.
Okay, I'm really inspired. These 4 laws make it obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying, like the 4 pillars of habit transformation. But even with all this, what about those times when we just can't resist temptation? What about when willpower just isn't enough?
Such a good question. And that's where identity and accountability come in. Those are some pretty powerful concepts, and we're going to unpack them in part 3.
All right, we're back and ready to wrap up this Atomic Habits deep dive with James Clear.
Yeah, some really great insights here.
So we've already uncovered so many practical strategies, making good habits obvious and attractive and easy and satisfying, but I kept thinking about this. What about when motivation just fades away?
It happens.
You know, those times when even the best plans just go off the rails. How do we stay on track when we're facing, temptation and we're doubting ourselves?
Yeah, that's the real challenge, right? And that's where this idea of identity comes in.
Okay.
So Clear's suggesting that real behavior change isn't just like tweaking what you do. It's actually shifting how you see yourself, your beliefs about who you are.
So how do we do that? How do we harness the power of identity?
Well, he says our habits shape our identity.
Yeah.
But then our identity shapes our habits, so it's this feedback loop.
Yeah.
So instead of just focusing on, I want to lose 10 pounds or I want to write a book, focus on becoming the type of person who embodies those things.
Oh, so instead of saying, I want to run a marathon, you'd say, I'm becoming a runner.
Exactly. It's subtle, but it's really powerful.
Yeah.
If you see yourself as a healthy person, you're going to make choices that line up with that. You start wanting healthy foods.
Yeah.
Exercise becomes a priority, not because you have to, but because it's just who you are.
So it's like this self-fulfilling prophecy.
Exactly.
Like you're voting for the person you want to be with every little action you take.
I love that.
That's cool. But even with a strong sense of identity, we all have moments of weakness.
Oh, for sure.
So what's the secret weapon? How do we stay on track when willpower just isn't enough?
Well, that's where accountability comes in.
Okay.
It's like that extra boost of support
Yeah.
to keep you moving in the right direction. Clear talks a lot about the power of, having that support system to stay motivated.
So it's like having a cheerleader in your corner.
Yeah.
Someone to keep you going when you're feeling discouraged.
Exactly.
And keep you accountable when when you want to stray from your goals.
That's right. He gives some strategies for building in accountability, like finding a habit buddy.
Okay.
So someone with similar goals, someone who will check in with you.
I love that. It's like having a workout buddy who makes you actually go to the gym.
Exactly.
Even when you just want to stay home.
When you want to stay on that couch,
Yeah.
knowing that someone's expecting you to show up makes a huge difference.
Big time.
He also suggests creating a habit contract.
A habit contract. What's that?
So it's like a formal agreement with yourself
Okay.
or with a partner outlining what you're going to do and what happens if you don't follow through.
So it's like a legally binding agreement for your habits?
Kind of. You're making those consequences of not sticking to it more real,
Does that really work? People actually do that.
Yeah, surprisingly, it's really effective.
Wow.
Clear has this great story about Brian Harris.
Okay.
He's an entrepreneur, and he wanted to lose weight.
Yeah.
So he made a habit contract with his wife and his trainer, with his exercise goals, diet goals.
Okay.
And get this, if he missed his targets, there were financial penalties.
Wow. That's commitment.
Talk about putting your money where your mouth is.
Yeah.
But it worked. He lost the weight.
So having that support system
Yeah,
and a little bit of financial motivation really pushed him to succeed.
exactly.
Okay. This has been an awesome exploration of Atomic Habits.
I think so too.
I feel like I'm leaving with a whole new understanding of how habits work
Me too.
and a bunch of strategies to make those positive changes stick.
That's what we're here for.
And thank you to all our listeners for joining us on this habit formation journey.
Absolutely.
Remember, even small changes can add up to huge results over time.
That's right.
So what habit will you start working on today? And what little tweak can you make to your environment to make that habit easier?
Good question.
Until next time, keep diving deep.